Think we're live. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda, your positive mindset partner and healthcare career coach. I'm also an associate director of digital innovation and account management in the medical communication and medical education space. If you don't follow me already, I share positive mindset and career tips to support personal and professional balance and growth. And why am I doing this today? I want to connect with you all on a different level. You see the corporate side of me and the coach side of me, but what you don't usually see is really my natural vibe and energy. So I wanted to connect with you all on a different level over some virtual coffee chats, but all drinks are welcome. I also cover different weekly themes, and hopefully that could be a topic to start on. But if you have any suggestions or have any questions, please feel free to comment and I'll take care of it soon. So this week's theme is about burnout and shifting our perspective positively while, of course, deflecting judgment and overcoming barriers from others. So what is it about burnout? I think we all can resonate with this topic. And it can manifest differently. We all know kind of the typical, decreased productivity, the effects on our life, our relationship, which is really like the chronic fatigue, increased irritability, or just in general, just lack of happiness and fulfillment. And that all happens from even early signs of burnout to late signs of burnout. But that could be stopped. And a lot of common causes that we know about this are whether we're overloaded at work, or lack of autonomy or independence at work, or even just poor work-life balance. But it could be any other reasons as well, because we all have different lives. We have unique journeys. So it can manifest differently. We think and act differently. We do things differently. Think about neurodivergent and neurotypical, or introvert and extrovert. We all need to kind of express our ways differently. So we have different ways of manifesting these kind of burnout signs, or even different types of signs, but also we need different ways to recuperate and recharge. So why do most of us still think that there's a specific profile or a specific box that we need to fit into? When we hear kind of like somebody else is having some issues or feeling overwhelmed or feeling overloaded, we always tend to think like, I'm not feeling this way, so I'm not burned out, or I'm not really close to that. But it can manifest really differently for all of us. So a basic example that I can give you is really with my journey. So when I first started working over a decade or so, my experience with burnout was a lot different than my experience with burnout now, or even in recent years. And yes, it might be because I didn't know what I know now, but it's also a lot of times that I was focusing on the wrong things. Back then, I was really focusing early on more my physical kind of signs or physical traits that I have when it comes to burnout, and really my energy levels. So when that decreased, or when I'm feeling tired, oh, I need to recharge. So I kept pushing myself past my limits, and that worked for a certain extent. But if I wanted to continue to achieve higher and higher and to really reach my goals, I needed something different. So I needed to really look at it from a different sense. And for that, I started focusing on understanding more about me, what makes me tick. Because the more I can understand what makes me tick, the more I can understand how it can manifest and why it might be manifesting that way. So really, I wanted really to share that, because when you really don't know where you're going, or if you don't have clarity about the path that you're taking or how it manifests, you can never solve the issue. You're really just solving the symptoms and just treating the symptoms, and not really treating the cause and really curing, let's say, the disease, right? Instead of just treating it. So what is it? We need clarity and we need direction. So for me, when I really started focusing on understanding myself and understanding my needs and wants, it was a lot easier for me to really have a base or like a reference point to go back to every time. So think about it more like that. If we didn't know what makes us tick, or if we don't really understand our motivation or what makes us drive or what we're going after, how can we focus and really be driven or motivated to even reach it or continue to even push? You're not going to be motivated every day. Your levels or energy levels are going to be different every day. And that's normal. That's completely fine. When you put that pressure on yourself to continuously excel and push yourself past your limit every day, you end up with different type of signs and you will burn yourself more quickly, hence the burnout. So really what I wanted to to really focus on is you really need to understand your base. You need to know what your reference point is. Because anytime you're going to have any issues in the future, or you want to adapt or adjust, let's say you want to change your goals, you want to change even the path, you don't want to keep carrying the baggage behind you. The more you're carrying the baggage, the more you're going to lose the direction and the clarity behind what keeps you moving, right? So why are we keep carrying all of that baggage on all of us? We need to really be focused and stay motivated and just dunk it away. Anything that is unnecessary that we don't need is out of the door. And the same goes when we're talking about the positive mindset, right? So a lot of the things that I realize that I have is really that positive outlook. And it's not only supporting to overcome kind of burnout. It really helps in general to shift my perspective and explore new options whenever I'm facing an obstacle. And that can manifest in different ways, right? Like there's a lot of research and statistics supporting positive thinking. And of course, not to be mistaken with toxic positivity. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being realistically positive. So that means it's about being grateful and looking at the things that you have and the resources and everything that you accomplished to date to be able to account. And that could be up and down. Everybody is going to have some bad days and some good days. It's really about focusing on more the positive outlook out of a bad situation. You failed. Okay, what did you learn? What can I try next? Make it as a game. Do it kind of something to support you and drive you. So I really want to mention that about positivity and more kind of the positive outlook and the positive thinking. Avoid really toxic positivity. We need the support. We need to share. We need to let people in to be able to even get to where we are. If one of us wins, we all win. So really, research and statistics supporting positive thinking really showed kind of the effects that kind of negates, let's say, burnout. So it really supports in increasing your productivity. Of course, your health outcomes, you're going to feel happier. You're going to look happier. It's everything is going to change. It's going to enhance also your problem solving skills. A lot of people think that when you have an issue and you're focusing more on, you should focus on the challenge and the negative part of it. No, like you should focus on the challenge and that's the realistic part of it. But then to explore some solutions to the problem that you have, you need to have more positive and an open mind. So whether it's brainstorming sessions with your team, whether it's really you just exploring to see like, okay, I don't like these two options. It's never going to be always black and white. Sometimes there's a gray and there's a blue and there's a red. So always go with what feels right for you. If you don't like that option, what else can you do? If you don't like this idea, what else can you do? So a lot of the times it really helps us also enhance our problem solving ideas. It reduces our stress levels, which is again tied to our health outcomes and really just in general career advancement and just better relationship because you're going to feel fulfilled and happier. And that will spill over, whether on your personal life or your professional. It's all connected, right? So what are some practical strategies that you can do? So for me, I really am big on self-care. But for the longest time, I wasn't. I really put it in the back burner. I was like, oh yeah, I'll take care of myself later. But part of recharging and really avoiding early signs of burnout or late signs of burnout, because the early signs, you're still ahead of the curve. You can still stop it, you can mitigate, you can change. But whenever you're down the road, down the rabbit hole, it's going to be really hard to get out of it. So really focusing on some practical strategies. So self-care for me is a big thing, whether it's self-reflection and introspection exercises or self-care routine, meditation, or anything that brings you joy. For me, I like to play online games. I like to really enjoy chatting with different people, picking our brains on different kind of brainstorming sessions, whatever the topic is. I recharge when I talk to other people. My energy kind of recharges like that. So we have to be careful also, because if you're like me, you have to also be careful that there's also type of people that can drain your energy. So you really need to focus on what brings you joy, whether it's people, whether it's hobbies or interests. And what about some other stuff? When it comes to work more specifically, you need to make sure, whether it's your personal or professional life, you always need to make sure that you're setting realistic goals for yourself. When you're setting realistic goals and priorities, you'll be able to work out your to-do list, let's say for today. Let's say you have 10 things to accomplish, but you know that only 2 really need to happen today. So if you're not really up, feeling up 100% to finish your to-do list that is 10 today, then we'll push some stuff for tomorrow. It's about also like listening to your needs and wants. Whatever you can prioritize will need to be done. It will be done. Whatever doesn't need to be done, then I can push it. Just be careful not to push everything to the same day, which I might have been guilty of back in the day. So that is something that I also see often. Sort of, what about deflecting judgment and overcoming barriers? It's really hard to tune out negative opinion and the judgment of people around us, right? So how do we really focus on our personal goals and really focus on us and what makes us happy? So it's really about staying focused to your vision. It goes back to the self-reflection, the introspection, and really understanding and knowing yourself. So stay focused on your vision. You need to build a support network, develop resilience, and really have like a supportive surroundings or a group that can give you constructive feedback, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a close friend, or whether it's even a work colleague. It could be anyone or your family members, anyone that can celebrate your wins, be with you for your losses and failures, and motivate you to keep going. It's really finding also your support group and really seeking constructive feedback to even keep going. And if you don't have that, this is where we think about getting a coach. So reach out if you need support. So what about breaking down barriers and overcoming those obstacles? So we, at first, before we start overcoming the barriers that are more external, we need to really focus on our internal barriers. And I'm talking about self-doubt. I'm talking about fear of failure. So for all of those, there's a couple of tricks you can do. Other than the mindful and introspection, self-reflection exercises that I mentioned before, a lot of the things that you can do is whenever you're having negative thoughts, and it happens to me a lot. I get inside my head a lot of time. I overthink a lot of these things. So what can I do to slow it down? I take a step back and I try to really challenge the negative thoughts. Are they rational? Are they actually based on anything? Or is it just, I'm just trying to criticize myself? Because we're our worst critics. So the more you can challenge your negative thoughts, the more you can see how irrational most of them, if not all of them, are. And the number one trick in general is just continuous learning. You want to improve, you want to really identify and address internal barriers, you need some continuous learning. How can you become better if you're not even learning new things and figuring out what's happening even outside? So really owning in on continuous learning, feeding your curiosity and keeping that drive going, but aligning it with your passions, values, and trying to break away your limiting beliefs and those internal barriers that we're talking. And other techniques to kind of build resilience and self-confidence can be positive self-talk. So think about it as anytime you're thinking negatively about something, or anytime you have kind of like a aha moment or a break in your mind, I want you to say something positive to yourself. Whether it's how you look today, whether how you feel, whether it's celebrating a small win. You finished that task. You got out of bed. That is also enough. It doesn't really matter how small or big that celebration is or that win, if it matters for you. So really tune out the noise and start focusing on yourself. So really, I just wanted to come on here to start showing you a bit more of me and the more authentic me. And the more I can share some example and stories, whether it's about the burnout experience that I've had or just some of the challenges and obstacles that I faced in my life, or whether personally or professionally, I will do so in the next couple of virtual coffee chats to be able to offer support and hopefully offer you some positive reinforcement that you're not alone. We're all in this together and we're all facing our own demons, or we're all facing some obstacles one way or another. And the only way we can get through this is really focusing on ourselves and supporting each other more positively. Let's stop putting the projections on others. Let's stop being critical on ourselves that much. Let's take a pause and really appreciate everything that we've been doing and everything that we're talking about. So I really want to encourage you to implement self-care and positive thinking to really feel fulfilled and happy. And don't forget to have your base or reference point to kind of go back to. It's going to be your guiding compass to be able to kind of go and navigate through your goal journey. And that will change. You're going to see that with time, and the more learning, the more insight that you're gathering, the more experience, your habits are going to change. The way that you're talking to yourself are going to change. The way that you're expressing yourself are going to change. And there's going to be a lot of benefits, but you need to continue doing it. You have to be consistent, because if you are not, you're going to slip back to even the rabbit hole that we were talking about for the burnout. So keep going. Really think about yourself positively. Talk to yourself like you would talk to your coach. Like, oh man, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're so smart. God, look what they did today. This is really what I want you to talk about. Even think about it as your pet too. You know how we're really all for pets and babies? Same thing. So the more you're positively talking to yourself, kind of like you're talking to your pet or your baby, the more you're going to feel fulfilled and happy, and you're going to be driven to actually go after your personal and professional goals. So I do want to encourage you also to share some of your experience or some of the signs that you see for burnouts, whether mentally or physically, in the chat, and we can figure out some strategies to combat them together. So I appreciate all of you for joining, and I'd like to remind you all again, self-care and positive mindset is the way to go to achieve your goals. So if you don't follow me already, please do on the Positive Perspective Mindset, and I'll see you soon. Bye.